The JoLynn Braley Show, episode number 130, 3 Starter Steps to Stop Binge Eating. Hello, welcome back to the JoLynn Braley Show, or welcome to the JoLynn Braley Show if this is your first time tuning in. If it is your first time tuning in, a little bit about me so you know what this podcast is about. My name is JoLynn Braley. I am permanent weight loss coach and the founder of the Inner Self Diet, the diet that always works, the diet that actually heals the root of what is driving your out of control eating, your binge eating, your emotional eating, your stress eating, your food addiction, your food obsessions, your low self-esteem, your low self-confidence, your inability to stop feeling ashamed of the fact that you can't get your eating habits under control and you can't get to your goal weight and stay there. Whatever the problem is, the Inner Self Diet heals the root of the problem. I've been doing this work since 2009. It works every time. But of course, it only works if you do it, right? It's just like anything in life. You can have full instructions on exactly what you need to do to get from point A to point B. But if you don't take action and follow these steps and follow the instructions to move from point A to point B, where are you going to end up? You're not going to end up at point B, are you? Nope. So just like with anything in life, nothing changes without taking deliberate, conscious, inspired action. And what's really important is that you have a proven system to take action with. You don't want to waste your time taking action with silly fad diets that will never fix your eating disorders, okay? Diets are only Band-Aids on top of symptoms. Symptoms are your overweight, your obesity, your unhealthy lifestyle, your unhealthy eating habits. Those are symptoms. You have to go to the root, the foundational problem, heal that, solve that, if you want to break free of this never-ending problem that you have. This problem that you are aware of from the moment you wake up in the morning until the moment you go to sleep at night. It's always with you. It's always bothering you. You're not able to shake it. And what you need is the right system to break free of it. And once you get that system and you follow it and you stay consistent, because even though we live in a society that everybody's looking for a magic pill, there is no overnight magical success. Okay? You have to take action with very different steps you have not ever done before in order to get very different results. And you've got to stay consistent, just like if you are going to get to your goal weight, and let's say that you have 50 pounds that you need to drop. In order to drop those 50 pounds, you're going to have to stay consistent with healthy eating, healthy exercise, meal after meal, day after day, season after season, because healthy weight loss is going to occur at the rate of 1 to 2 pounds per week. If you're expecting any more than that, you are just setting yourself up for disappointment and depression and hopelessness. You know, the only people who drop more than 2 pounds a week are people who are morbidly obese. Hopefully you're not in that camp, because the bigger you are, the bigger the problem is, because the heavier your mindset is. However, even a person who is morbidly obese, if they were to get the right mindset, if they were to get the weight loss mindset that they need, then over time, they could absolutely solve their out of control problems. Hey, if you have never tuned into the JoLynn Braley Show before and you don't already have my free ebook, you can go get that right now. It's totally free. And of course, it's not coaching. Coaching requires two-way communication. Of course, it's not the Inner Self Diet because the Inner Self Diet requires two-way communication. I work personally with my coaching clients in the Inner Self Diet. They get accountability. They get the full system. They get the full steps that they need to succeed permanently with ending their eating disorders, ending their out of control eating, getting to their goal weight and staying there. But I have this free ebook that you can opt in for. And if you read it, I would expect that you would get, at least at the very minimum, a paradigm shift and help yourself to begin breaking free of diet mentality, which will never give you permanent success with your weight. And with all of that being said, you can get my free ebook at www.easyfunweightloss.com. That's www.easyfunweightloss.com. So on today's episode here, episode number 130 of the JoLynn Braley Show, I'm going to share with you 3 starter steps to stop binge eating. And the reason that I call these 3 starter steps is because since this is not coaching, since I have no idea who you are, since I'm not having a two-way communication with you, I have no idea of your history, what your challenges are, then, I can only give you starter steps. And starter steps are steps that you can take action with. And even though I call them starter steps, they are still very powerful. And lots of people have problems with even taking action with these because it's always going to be easier to stuff yourself with food. It's always going to be easier to hit the McDonald's drive-thru. It's always going to be easier to binge eat or emotionally eat or have a pity party and feel sorry for yourself and blame everybody else for your problems. And it's always going to be easier to stay stuck. But even though that's easy, you're never going to get the results that you keep telling yourself that you want of getting thin and staying thin, having a fit, healthy body, being strong, looking great in your jeans, and having a normal, healthy relationship with food instead of having food be your whole world. Food is supposed to be fuel. Food is not supposed to be the end-all, be-all of your entire life. Food is supposed to be fuel to fuel your human body to live in a body that you love and you feel good about and feel good in your own skin while you are living your best life, doing fun things, building your career or building your business or having your family or whatever it is that you're passionate about. The way that things are supposed to work is that you have a life that you love and you're having fun with the people that you love and you eat food when you're physically hungry. But when you are stuck in binge eating and emotional eating and food obsessions, now food is your whole world. And it's really unhealthy and it's really skewed. And I've been there before. I totally understand it. I think that's one of the reasons that actually helps me be a better coach for my awesome coaching clients. But I would not recommend that anybody stay stuck there. The fastest way to get out of that is to get coaching. And you want to make sure that you get the right coach who can actually help you, somebody who has a track record of helping everybody else who has come before you. Want to make sure also that you get a coach who is courageous enough to tell you the truth and not sugarcoat anything, because you're not going to break through and break free, and you're certainly not going to do it quickly without getting real with yourself, and that requires real self-honesty. And you want to make sure that you have a coach who is going to be that honest with you also. Otherwise, you're pretty much wasting your time. And hey, actually, if you want to tune in next week for episode number 131 of the JoLynn Braley Show, that is going to be Get Real episode number 31. Now, I'll warn you, don't tune in for next week's episode. If you're looking for reasons to fail, if you're looking for reasons to be offended, if you're looking for reasons to stay stuck, and you just want to keep floundering around, then don't tune in to next week's episode, because I'm sure that there will be something that you don't like. In fact, even today, on this episode of the JoLynn Braley Show, it's not even a Get Real episode, but if you're looking for other people to blame, if you're not willing to take full, badass, personal, 100% responsibility for yourself and your results, then I wouldn't even suggest that you listen to the JoLynn Braley Show at all, because there's nothing here for you. So you might want to go do something else if that's you. Now, for you who is still listening, you who knows that you're not going to get anywhere without looking at yourself honestly, you're not going to get new results without taking full personal responsibility for yourself. There's no one else to blame for the state of your weight. There's nobody and no thing out there that is stopping you. You can't blame your kids. You can't blame your schedule. You can't blame your job or your business or your husband or your boyfriend or your neighbor or your family, like siblings or your mom or your dad, the government. There's nobody to blame unless you are sitting right now in a chair and your hands and feet are bound with duct tape to that chair, and there's another person who turned on this podcast for you and they are shoveling food into your mouth, making you eat food. Now, if that's where you're at, yeah, that would not be a good situation to be in. And then how would you get out of that? That's kind of sounds like some kind of a freaky horror show, doesn't it? How would you get out of that? But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. I'm just making the analogy that if you want to change, if you're serious about changing and ending your binge eating or whatever your problems are that are stopping you from getting to your goal weight and staying there, you're the only one who can get the help to do that. And if you think that you can do it all on your own, great, then go do it. Why haven't you already done it? Okay, a cautionary tip about thinking that you can do it all on your own. One thing you cannot do is you cannot see your own blind spots, and that's why coaching is so valuable. Coaching is the fast track, if you work with the right coach, of course. But hey, if you have what it takes to end all of your ongoing food and weight struggles on your own, go for it. Start right now. If you make excuses and tell yourself that you're going to wait until Monday, then you don't have what it takes. You don't have a weight loss mindset. And you need a weight loss mindset that's 92.8% of solving the puzzle of permanent weight loss. And that's the work I do with my awesome coaching clients in the Inner Self Diet. But now let's get to these 3 starter steps to stop binge eating. Okay, number 1 starter step to stop binge eating. Allow yourself to feel your negative emotions instead of eating them, instead of stuffing them, instead of trying to run away from them and avoid them. Whatever your negative, uncomfortable emotions are that you have been trying to stuff down with food, allow yourself to feel them instead of eating them. Food will never get you out of the problems that you are stuck in. Food is supposed to fuel your body. Food cannot take away your negative, uncomfortable, upsetting emotional states. Now, it might seem like it does. It might seem that for 5 or 10 minutes you feel better. And of course, there is the chemical component that is involved with highly processed food, highly sugared foods, highly salted foods, the textures and the high fructose corn syrup, the MSG, all of the ingredients that are put into highly processed foods to get you to keep eating them and to keep buying them and to keep going back for more. There is that component. But did you know that it only takes 3 days to get that out of your system, the chemical aspect of things? It only takes eating whole, real foods. Now, that means you're going to have to cook unless you don't eat protein, if you don't eat meat. So right there, notice the thoughts that you are thinking. Oh, I don't have time to cook. Oh, no. Well, all right, then take responsibility for that. And how are you going to get off of the processed foods then? You know what I mean, Jean? It's all up to you, unless you want to hire a chef. Some people do that. Some people hire personal chefs to cook all of their whole, real foods for them. And that is an option. You still need to use portion control and make sure that you're eating only when you're physically hungry. Stop eating when you're physically full. But if you haven't healed the root of your binge eating, you're still going to be binging and overeating. So first starter step to stop binge eating, allow yourself to feel your negative emotions instead of eating them. Number 2 starter step to stop binge eating, pay attention to your thoughts. All right? Any negative emotion that you feel begins with a thought. It is so frickin' simple. Stop thinking all the shitty thoughts that you're thinking. Seriously. However, it's impossible to stop thinking the crappy thoughts that you're thinking, because as soon as you tell yourself, oh, I'm going to stop thinking that I'm a failure, I'm going to stop thinking that I'm a fat slob, whatever it is that you think, okay? I don't know who you are. I have no idea what you're thinking. But I'm just tossing some examples out there, because people who are very, very negatively focused on themselves and feeling a great deal of shame about their eating habits and their body and their weight, and they hate their body, they hate themselves, they hate the fat on their body, they hate themselves because they know exactly how they should be eating, but they're not doing it. Okay, and I've had many clients like this. All right, very, very, very smart. Very smart women, successful professionally, but hating themselves. And when they do my proven steps of the inner self diet, they break free of that problem. That's an extremely debilitating problem. But what's happening is, when you think a crappy thought, guess how you're going to feel? You're going to feel crappy. And when you feel crappy, what do you normally do? You normally binge eat, because that's your habit. It's your learned somewhere along the way when you were a kid. You started coping with life in this manner. And of course, it's unhealthy, and it's a self-sabotage on yourself and on your body. But the very simple fact is, if you're feeling crappy, you're thinking crappy. So start by paying attention to your thoughts. And you can think whatever you want to think. You don't need anybody to give you permission to think a better feeling thought. All right? You can think whatever you want to think. Or keep thinking that you don't deserve to be thin, or everybody else can do it but not you. Well, if you keep thinking that, you're going to keep feeling bad, you're going to keep binge eating, and you're right, if you think those thoughts, you will make those thoughts be true for you. You are the captain of your own ship, and it's up to you whether that ship is going to be a ship of success, or it's just going to sink deeper into the tunnel of more binge eating and more pity parties and more shame and more overweight. It's all up to you. You get to steer your own ship. And if you choose to think better feeling thoughts, you can do that. You can do that right now. Number 3 starter step to stop binge eating is to pay attention to your emotional state. All right? So you can't feel your negative emotions instead of eating them if you are mindlessly going through your day and you're not conscious of what you're thinking or what you're feeling. And you're not going to make progress if you stay in a mindless, knee-jerk reaction way of living. And this is how a lot of people live, but you've got to get conscious if you want to stop binge eating and start making progress. So a really simple thing that you can do is when you notice that you're feeling whatever it is you're feeling, you take a pen and a paper and you write one word down on that paper that describes how you feel. Just one word. And that very, very simple exercise will help you get present. It will help you start to pay better attention and become more conscious of how you're feeling. And remember, if you're feeling bad, you're thinking bad, negative, crappy thoughts. And so then you still want to look at what you're thinking and change the thought. Is this making sense? Are you getting this? These are very, very, very simple steps. Notice that I'm not saying, oh, eat this, don't eat that. That's only a Band-Aid. It's not going to solve the real problems. And still, even these tips here, you need to go deeper to solve the foundational problems. But, these are 3 starter steps to stop binge eating. And if you actually take action with them, you will be able to see the improvements that you can make. And it's not going to be, it's not the kind of thing that, it's not like posting a picture on Facebook and sitting there and waiting to see how many likes you get and feeling better. This whole, there's a big problem with it's actually an addiction. It's a social media addiction. And it gives you a boost in your brain, in the chemistry in your brain. It boosts your dopamine. When you get these likes, total strangers liking your pictures on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you're posting. And real life is not like that. Okay, so these 3 starter steps that I'm giving you, it's not like you can just do it once and you're done. Are you able to live your life and take a shower one time and you're done? Probably not, because you'd end up being pretty darn stinky. Probably might even lose your job. You know what I mean, Jean? So you have to accept the fact, get real with yourself, grow up. And that can be hard for a lot of overeaters to do. I've been there before. I understand it. But you have to accept the fact that you're not going to get instant results. You have to start where you are, start taking action, and be consistent. And over time, you can start to pay better attention, be more conscious of your emotions and your thinking, and make the changes that you need to make as you go along. Is this making sense? Are you getting it? All right. And if you're offended by the fact that you actually have to take action, you actually have to do something to get new results, if you think that you're special and that you should be able to just magically stop binge eating because you should, well, how's that going to happen? How is that going to work? Alrighty? Hey, if you don't like what I'm saying, just turn off this podcast. But how are you going to end your binge eating? How is it going to happen? Keep in mind that being totally honest with yourself, getting real with yourself, it's not about beating yourself up. It's just about getting real. How are you going to get something different if you just keep doing what you've always been doing? How is that going to work? Where are you going to be a year from now if you just keep doing what you've always done? It's time for a commercial break here on the JoLynn Braley Show. This week's sponsor of the JoLynn Braley Show is my free ebook. Get it now at www.easyfunweightloss.com. www.easyfunweightloss.com. In it, you'll get 3 simple steps to start making weight loss easier from the inside out. They are not food tips. They are not diet tips. And this ebook is for you if you struggle with emotional eating, binge eating, yo-yo dieting, any of these typical types of problems that keep you stuck, fat, frustrated, and fed up. All right, so you can grab my free ebook now, see what you can learn. You're going to need to read it and apply it And if you are willing to do that, then you can. Nobody can stop you unless you stop yourself. So get that now at www.easyfunweightloss.com. Couple questions to ask yourself. In fact, I already gave you a couple questions, but now what you want to do if you want to get the most out of this totally free weight loss podcast is pause the podcast while you get a pen and paper, a clean sheet of paper. And I recommend that you write each question down that I'm about to give you, then write your answer down to each question, pen on paper, because there is a connection that occurs between the head, the hand, and the heart when you write pen on paper. You cannot get that connection if you type on a keyboard. You don't get any connection if you only listen to me talk on and on and on and on. I mean, I could talk forever, but you're not going to get anything out of that. It pretty much goes in one ear and out the other. But if you want to stop spinning in your head, if you actually want to connect with yourself, if you want to get more conscious, be present with yourself, then write pen on paper. And the first question, where am I going to be 1 year from now if I keep going as I am now? Where am I going to be 1 year from now if I keep going as I am now? Write down what you're going to weigh, what's going to be the state of your binge eating, how are you going to feel about yourself, what are you going to be wearing, how good or bad are you going to feel in your own skin. Write down what your relationships will be like. Will you be making more money or will you still have the same job? Where are you going to be a year from now if you just keep going as you are now? Remember, or be aware, because I don't think I mentioned this on this podcast here today, but this problem that you have with the out of control eating, the binge eating, the overweight or obesity, it's not just a weight problem, it's a life problem. So whatever is at the foundation that has gotten you to where you are with your eating and your weight, those same problems are affecting your work life, your bank account, your sex life, your relationships, your fun, if you have any fun, vacations, anything else, anything in your life. The life problem is impacting all areas of your life. This is why when my coaching clients do the inner self diet, they come to me because they want the weight and the eating results. They want to resolve their never-ending struggles with food and their weight. But what ends up happening is they get these amazing transformations in other areas of their life. And that's because what is causing this problem, it's a deeper issue and it intersects all areas of your life. So keep that in mind when you are writing pen on paper what results you are going to have a year from now if you just keep going as you are now. Number 2 question. What are all the fears I have of feeling my negative emotions? What are all the fears that I have of feeling my negative emotions? And write them all down. Because if you didn't have fears of feeling them, you would have already been doing this. In general, why people are binge eating is you're trying to consciously or unconsciously feel better with eating a lot of food. And you're also running away from yourself. You're avoiding yourself. You're not listening to yourself. You're abusing yourself. You're not being with yourself. You're not allowing yourself to feel whatever is the upset that is there. So what are all the fears that I have of feeling my negative emotions? Number 3 question. When I look ahead, and if I were to actually get the tools, get the steps to heal the root of what is causing me to be out of control with food and my weight, when I look ahead, what do I see for myself? What is possible for myself? In fact, an easier way to ask yourself this question is, if I were to heal the root of my out of control binge eating now, where would I be a year from now? If I were to heal the root of my out of control binge eating now, where would I be a year from now? Write down what you could be weighing, how you would look. Would you be feeling great in your own skin? Would you be loving your life? What kind of work would you be doing? What would your relationships look like? Everything, every area of your life, your bank account, everything. You do realize that money is also tied to how you feel about yourself, how you feel in your body, your beliefs, your limiting beliefs, the thoughts that you think about yourself. Everything is tied together. So if you think very, very negatively about yourself, then of course, that's not only going to impact your healthy or unhealthy lifestyle, but it's going to impact every area of your life. Are you getting this? Is it making sense? Just a little bit even? All right. See, everybody else out there, all they're doing is looking for another new fad diet, some quickie thing that is going to give them a magic pill to melt their fat while they're sleeping. And then another 20 years goes by and they're still looking for another magic pill. Okay? Does that make sense? If you were to stop and fix the root of the problem, fix the foundation, then you'd be home free. Number 4 question, who's my coach? Who is my coach? Who is giving me the proven system to work? Who is holding my hand virtually over the phone? Who is giving me accountability, helping me stick with it? Who is helping me see the blind spots that I cannot see? Who is helping me get real with myself? Who's my coach in my corner? Who's my coach who is willing to be totally honest with me? And if you don't have a coach, then answer the number 5 question. Why not? Why not? What are all the negative thoughts that I have about myself that are keeping me stuck all alone instead of taking the easiest, fastest path out of this problem, which would be to get coaching if you're working with the right coach? And the reason that I've said that a few times is there's a whole bunch of coaches out there on the planet. And there are people who are doing general life coaching, and that's cool. If that's what you want is general life coaching. But to fix a deep-rooted problem like binge eating, you want to make sure that you are working with a coach who knows how to help you with that stuff so that you can get on the other side of it. Does that make sense? All right. So, of course, if you need extra time, or if you're listening to this podcast and you didn't pause it to write pen on paper, then just rewind it and go back, because otherwise you're really not going to be getting in there with yourself. And if you're not willing to just write down a couple questions, pen on paper, and answer them for yourself, then how willing are you ever going to be to feel your own negative emotions, or to write down one word of how you're feeling, to get that pen and paper out, or even to write pen on paper the negative thoughts that you're thinking? If you're not willing to just answer these questions for yourself, distraction-free, on this totally free weight loss podcast, how are you going to end your binge eating? Very honest questions to ask yourself, and give yourself the very honest answers. If you find that you are like one of the millions of people out there who are looking for a magic pill, they're looking for a quick fix, and they don't want to actually do anything new. They don't want to do any work. They don't want to be consistent. They don't want to ask themselves questions. They just want the results. All right? If you find that that's you, then it's good to have that awareness, because all change is preceded by awareness. And without that awareness, how could you ever make any changes? Does that make sense? So, everything is up to you. Everything is your decision. You can absolutely end your food and weight struggles, lose weight and keep it off, if you are able to follow instructions, if you're willing to do new things, and if you are willing to not just talk, not just say words, but actually take action. words, if you tell yourself or tell other people, oh, I'm committed, I'm really in it, I'm in it to win it, I'm committed, and then you have no actions that match your words, that's not commitment. Commitment is follow through with action. So look at your actions. That will tell you how committed you are to achieving permanent success with your weight. Wow, this should have been a Get Real episode, you know? I've really been giving you a lot of Get Real feedback here, but actually next week, episode number 131, that will be Get Real episode 31 of the JoLynn Braley Show. And the topic will be 3 reasons you're not reaching your goal weight, or 3 reasons you haven't reached your goal weight. Something like that. Same topic, might be just very slightly different wording. That's going to be a really good Get Real episode. Since I started my free weight loss podcast the first week of January 2013, I've been doing 1 Get Real episode per month. And the Get Real episodes are more direct, a little bit more hard-hitting, all for the purpose of helping you, the listener, the subscriber of the JoLynn Braley Show, to get honest with yourself and get real with yourself. Because if you don't do that, then it's really easy to keep rationalizing why you're failing. And do you know what that means? To rationalize and give yourself all kinds of reasons why other people can do it, but not you. Rationalize. Those are rational lies that you are telling yourself. You might want to write that down. Rational lies, Lies, that you are telling yourself. So you might want to change that if that is what you are doing. You know, I love what Dr. Now says on My 600-Pound Life. He is just so cool. And most of the patients that you see on My 600-Pound Life, they are lying to themselves. And Dr. Now, when they come in for their follow-up, and he said, well, I want you to lose 30 pounds over the next 30 days. And now these are morbidly obese people. Okay, they're 600, 700 pounds. That's the only type of situation where it could be expected that they could drop a pound a day. A lot of that is liquid. But the person comes back and they've gained 10 pounds. And they say, oh, but I've been sticking with it, Dr. Now. I've been doing what you said. And he just remains very calm. And he says, the scale doesn't lie. People do. The scale doesn't lie. People do. And the worst lies are the lies you tell yourself. There's absolutely no reason why you cannot get to your goal weight and stay there, but you have to do it. And if you don't get a weight loss mindset, which is 92.8% of the challenge, when you do get a weight loss mindset, that makes weight loss struggle-free. If you don't get a weight loss mindset, you can force yourself to lose weight. You'll probably gain all the weight back. That's why 95% of dieters fail. That's why even people who get weight loss surgery, it's not a permanent solution unless they change their mindset. So you can absolutely get to your goal weight. You can absolutely stay there if you get a weight loss mindset. And I really love what Dr. Maxwell Maltz said. I agree with him that if you are able to do 3 things, then you can do anything else. And those 3 things are recall a memory, worry, and tie your own shoes. If you're able to do those things, you can do anything else. And if you're so obese that you're not able to bend over and tie your own shoes, well, if you know how to tie your shoes, that's what Dr. Maxwell Maltz was saying. He has already passed away, and back in his time, there really weren't people that were having these morbidly obese issues. It really didn't start until about the 1950s, and that's when processed food came on the scene. And processed food is highly addictive. But again, you can get off of that addiction. It just takes 3 days to clear that out of your system. And when you have a weight loss mindset, you can do it. So, giving you a lot of gems here at the end of this free weight loss podcast. Oh, by the way, Do you want the fast track? If you don't, just hop off of this podcast right now. You don't even need to listen to the rest of it. If you want the fast track, if you want help to end your binge eating and your ongoing, never-ending food and weight struggles in 8 weeks or less, get this thing done. If you know that you need help, because obviously, if you could have done it already on your own, you would have done it. And that doesn't mean that you're not smart. It means that you can't solve these problems with the same mindset that created the problems. And it doesn't matter how smart and successful you are professionally. In fact, being so smart and successful professionally like you are, that actually makes you even more frustrated that you can't get your eating under control. Because if you're like my coaching clients, you already know exactly what you need to be doing to lose weight, but you're not doing it. So if you do want to fast track this, if you know you need help, if you want to have the coaching so that your blind spots can be revealed, blind spots that you can't see for yourself right now because they are blind spots. All of us have blind spots. That's why everybody needs coaching. If you want help, your first step is to go to www.discovery-session.com, www.discovery-session.com. That's for you if you are serious about putting an end to your food and weight struggles in the least amount of time possible, so that you can stop asking yourself, why am I so smart and successful professionally, but I've never been able to fix this food and weight thing on my own? So head on over to www.discovery-session.com to get started now. I am JoLynn Braley, permanent weight loss coach, founder of the Empowering the Diet That Is Not a Diet, the Inner Self Diet, the diet that always works if you work it. It's not magic. There's no magic pill. You actually have to do the steps yourself, which is how it needs to be, because nobody else can get into your own head and think your thoughts for you. Don't you agree? Does that make sense? Are you getting it? I wish you your best life living inside of your ideal body.